Hello everyone, I want you to all be successful on your first podcast, so I thought I'd create this quick tutorial to help you to do it better and so you'll be comfortable with it. So right now I've got Audacity opened up before me. If you're not familiar with Audacity, you can download it from the web. So if you want to do a Google search and you Google Audacity, you're going to come to a website. You'll find one that looks like this. It's audacitysoundforge.net. You'll see in Audacity, and you can go ahead and choose whether it's a PC or a Mac that you're going to download from. It only takes a few minutes to download it. I want to give you one bit of information right here if you do choose to do that. Audacity by itself is not capable of exporting MP3 files, so if you want to do that, you're going to actually have to download this plugin, which is called Lame MP3 Encoder. And the first time you go to export a file as an MP3, it will ask you where this file is. So if you download this and put it somewhere where you know where it is, you can go ahead and it will find that. You can indicate where it is, and it will export as MP3s. So that's the Lame MP3 encoder. So that's the first time you use Audacity. Now if you use Audacity in any of the edit bays that are in our studio or in the edit bays down in the bottom floor, then it already has this encoder in it, and so you can just export it directly as an MP3. And we'll go over that in just a minute. But first, I'm going to click on Audacity. It's the little icon that's got the little flame sound waves with headphones on them, and it opens up like this, and looks good. All of it, whether it's a PC or a Mac, it's going to look basically the same as this. First thing we want to check though is our system preferences. Now if you're on a PC, it'll be in a little bit different place, and you can check your audio preferences for your ins and outs, and you're going to find that icon down in the bottom right usually as well. But for a Mac, you'll find the system preferences down here, and you'll click on it, and you want to find the sound preferences. Now if you're recording using your own computer or one of the computers in the edit bays or downstairs, chances are it's easiest if you just check out one of those iMic USBs, and you can check those out from the production office right there in the bottom floor. And you're going to go ahead and plug those in the USB port. When you click on the sound button, you're going to find whatever mic you want to use. Now I highly suggest you don't use the internal microphone in the computer, because the sound quality just isn't that good. You know, in desperation, if you can't find anything else, you can certainly use that, but I wouldn't use anything past your very first podcast because we want the quality to be good, and you'll be graded on the quality, and the microphone quality in the computer mics is just not very good. So we click on that. I'm using this headphone mic that you see here, and I click on that for input, and you shouldn't have to worry about output. This one actually has a headphone associated with it, so I'm going to click it for my output as well, but usually it's just going to be your internal speakers. And you can go ahead and close that now. Now that's one step. You should check a second place in Audacity. Click on the Audacity button here on the top under the file menu and look under preferences, and you'll see there are lots of different ways to find this. This is actually an updated version. There's a couple of different places that you may find this if you have an older version, but definitely you want to look at I'm going to check out here for devices, the very top one. If you're using an older version, it has some tabs across the top, and it will say audio in and out, and you click on that one. Either way, you'll find a menu for recording, and right now I'm still set on the built-in microphone, so even though I'm talking into this, it would be recording off the microphone in the computer. So I want to click on built-in input. Oh, you know what I'm going to have to do? If this happens, there's a quick solution. It doesn't know my microphone's plugged in yet because I had Audacity running before I plugged in my microphone. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel, and I'm going ahead and quit Audacity. And I'm going to start it up again. Okay, and this is something that may happen to you. And now I go back to Audacity and Preferences, and it brings up that menu, and I'm back to Devices. And now when I click on the recording, it shows up with my USB headphone set. And so you can do that to troubleshoot, and that's happened to me a couple times. And again, just close Audacity, open it up, and it will recognize your microphone if you happen to plug in the microphone after Audacity was already started. All right, click on OK, and we're good. Right now it's mono because I'm talking through a microphone, and that's great. So we'll click that OK. And here we go. Now the easy part is this. All I have to do is hit the record button, and which is the red button here on the top. So let's click record. And now I get a sample of the audio levels, and I can go ahead and see how my levels are looking. I can drag this out a little bit. And just for your information, I want to average about right here in the -12. Don't want to really peak up here. If I hit zeros, I'm too high. And you can kind of see down here the waveform levels what might be too high. If I shout really loud, then you'll notice it got too high and it peaked, and that's not good. We don't want that to happen. When you're comfortable with whatever you recorded, simply click the stop button. And then you can go ahead and hit the play button, and you can listen to it back. Okay, if you like what you hear, that's great. Some good things about Audacity is that everything is completely editable. So I have this tool. You'll see I'm looking over right here. It's a select tool. Say I didn't like this part. If I scroll down here using my little scroll area and move over, here's that overmodulated part that was really loud. In fact, let's listen to it. I can click right here in the cursor and hit the space bar or play. Wow, I didn't like that. So I'm going to highlight that really loud part and I will delete it and it goes away. That's great. So here's one thing I want you to know is you don't have to record your whole 1 or 2 or 3 minute podcast as if it were live. If you make a mistake, it's okay to stop and then you can edit a little bit and start up from where you left off. So say I got to this point right here. Let's click here and I listen. So I want to start from right there, so I'm going ahead and I can click my playhead right there if I want to, and I can go ahead and click record again, and it will create a new track, and it will start recording right from that spot. And so now I'm recording right from that same spot, so if I made a mistake, I can stop and start recording again. I'm going ahead and click stop or hit the space bar, and you can see I have 2 tracks now. Okay, and they go like that. Now, say for example, I don't like this little piece on the first track, and I want to get rid of that one. So I'm going to highlight that, and I will delete it by hitting the delete key. Now I've got this big empty gap. Well, here's another tool that you'll need to know how to use. Up here you'll see this double arrow tool. It's a move tool. Let's see what they call it specifically. The time shift tool. Okay, and we're going to shift time. We're very powerful. And move that back over here. And so now, when I go ahead and go back to my selection tool, I'll click here in the top one and press play. There we go. So I shifted it, so I got rid of that gap. Now you can do that as many times as you need to. So say again, I recorded, I got to here, I stopped. Okay, now I want to go start right here, and I'll hit record again. And again, I record right from there. So with this method, there's no reason to have any stumbles or any bad audio, because you can listen to it and you can edit and record and change, and you don't have to re-record everything. You can only record the parts that you think need to be re-recorded and then move them as you wish. Again, by using this time shift tool to move things back and forth where you want them. When you get done, you can have lots and lots of tracks, but when you export it, it'll all mix it down into one track. So right now I have 3 tracks. Okay. Now, one other item, you may want to add some audio, some music to start your podcast if you like to. There's actually some stock music that's available to you under the APace menu. And so remember I showed you how to get onto APace. So right now I'm going to do File and Import. And I'm going to import some audio. Okay. And this time I'm going to find an audio file that I want to bring in. So let me go and look what I can find. I'm going to go and check out this is for APace, and I'm going to pull in just a little audio. Now, one thing I want you to be careful on this one, because I want you to put your stuff out there for the world. We don't want to use copyrighted music, so we want to use stuff that we have permissions and copyright permissions to use. So under our stock materials, then we do have the rights to use all this stock music. So I'm going to go to fresh music, and I'm going to pick something. Ooh, how about the 70s? Oh, 80s. Should we go for 80s? Let's go for 80s. And maybe something from Police. The Police sounds good. Let's see what we've got here. That one looks like it's let's see if we can find a shorter one. The Police MP3. Okay, sounds good. I'm going to pick that one. It's in an MP3 format. I'm going to open it up and import it in, and now it brought it down and made, again, you can see I've got some audio down here on the bottom. Now it's going to be really loud, so let me go back here to the very beginning and we'll play it, and you'll see that this is going to be a little bit too loud for us to hear what I said. Okay, that's not exactly what I want, is it? So I want to change that. So I need to look back on here in the system preferences real quick on my output. Interesting. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to turn this down. And to turn that music down, all I have to do is go right here, and you see the plus or minus. I'm going to drop the gain down to about -14. Then I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to play it and see if that sounds okay. Oh, that's a pretty good mix. Okay, I think I'm going to keep that one there. Not bad at all. Okay, so I can stop there. If that sounds pretty good, I'll leave it there. That might even be a little bit high for me. I'll drop it down just a little bit more. Okay, when we got everything arranged just the way you want it and looking good, then I'm going to go ahead and do a file and export. And it's going to bring up a menu. And right now I'm exporting it as an MP3 file. It gives me some other options in this particular one. Now if you're using an older version, it's going to, you'll see a specific menu that says export as MP3. But here's an MP3 file. Decide where I'm going to save it. Right now I'm going to put it on my desktop. Where's my desktop? There it is. And I'm going to name this, let's see, COM360 Test Podcast. That's a long name, but I'll be easy to find. Okay, and here we go. I'm going to save that on my desktop. And it's going to ask me some questions about where I want to put things. And I don't want it to be Fresh Music as the title. I'm going to put Brother Howard track title, and I want to change that because now it's giving me all the information from the MP3 file I imported. So I'm going to put podcast. Now you can put anything in here you want. And there we go. We're going to stop right there. We'll leave all the other information. You can go ahead and put that in there. Oh, look, I can hit the clear button, clear everything out. That would be even better. Okay, I'm going to leave it blank for now. Don't really worry about that too much. I'm going to click OK, and it's going to mix down my tracks to stereo, and that's great. I'm going to click OK, and it'll take a few seconds for it to mix down because it's not very long. All right, once it's done, let me go ahead under Audacity. I'm going to put hide Audacity just to get it out of the way and move this down here. Let's see if I can find it on my desktop. Where did that file go? Here we go, COM360 test, and we should see how it sounds. I'm just going to go ahead and open it up with QuickTime Player and see what it sounds like in QuickTime. And now I get a sample of the audio levels, and I can go ahead and see how my levels are looking. I can drag this out a little bit, and just for your okay, so it sounds like my music's a little bit hot on that, but not bad. You should always check your exported file to make sure that it sounds good before you upload it. So I like that one. That looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and quit my QuickTime Player, and now I'm going to open up my web browser and go to our class. Okay, so here's our class, and under the assignments menu, you'll see down here is podcasts, and click on podcast. Now for your assignment, you were supposed to write up a script, and your script had the name of your podcast and the name of this particular podcast, which could be test podcast for this one if you want to, and then your script written up. So I'm going to have you copy and paste that into this comments box, and then go to the browse button, and I'm going to go back to my desktop and find my MP3 file, which where'd it go? There it is, COM360 Podcast MP3, and there it is. I'm going to go ahead and submit that. Now I'm not going to do that on mine because I don't have any place for it to go, so just spin around. But make sure you give it time to upload. It usually takes usually not more than a minute or so, but sometimes it depends on how the network is working. Make sure you give it enough time to upload. Okay, and once it's done, then if you go and actually check your grades, you'll see a little exclamation point in the grade book. It means that it's uploaded. And so I'll have your script and your podcast ready to go. Now, when you're all done with that one, then we'll check it out in class and see what you've got, and hopefully everything worked out okay for you. So that's the whole purpose of those tutorials, to help you make sure you know how to get things onto Blackboard, but also how to use Audacity and be a little bit more familiar with that. Now we'll talk about how to use Podbean a little bit later, so you can upload your podcasts and have the whole world listen to them on a server that delivers them out on on the Podbean service, so everyone can listen to them. All right, if you do have any questions, please let me know. Hopefully that gives you a good once over about how to use Audacity and how to upload your first podcast onto the web. All right, good luck with the project.